Welcome back to it, guys. The Wednesday edition of the Now Morning Show. It's 6:40 midweek, and after speaking to two delightful young women about the school experience, we're taking it to the next step. After school, you look at employment. And joining us this morning is Miss Victoria Francis, the employee experience, and I want to get it right, consultant and career coach, coming to tell us about complimentary Caribbean resume writing and the workshop therein. So good morning and welcome.
Hi, good morning. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, I am thrilled to have you. Where were you when I started working? Because something we often take for granted is the fact that new year, new me tends to be a trend. And sometimes that might mean a new job. With hundreds of thousands of applicants, resume writing is so necessary. So tell me right off the top why the workshop, or who decided the workshop needs to happen. God bless them.
Thank you. So after my partner and I, we decided to throw this workshop. It's targeted for youths, as you said. When you're now getting into a career, you're not sure where to go, what to think, and how exactly to present yourself on a resume. So though the target is youth, it's open to anyone who's trying to figure out what they should do next in their career, trying to figure out how they should really be updating their resume and how they should approach the job search.
Beautiful. That means that it's beyond just the cover letter or even how you put together your credentials. I think, though, we'll start with a couple little tips, because an interesting thought that I only came across how many years into my career was there is a difference between a resume and a CV. Could you make that distinction for us?
Okay,
please?
Certainly. So the resume is, and I like to say that the resume is your professional introduction to a company. So it's a very summarized document that says really key points about you and what you've done, just like the introduction that you made for me today.
Okay.
Now, the CV is a much larger document. There's more of an in-depth history of some of the things that you've done throughout your career.
Ah, so if you're just starting, coming straight out of school, you're more likely to have a resume than you would a CV, because your experience might be less.
Not exactly.
Okay.
The resume is actually applicable to everybody that's applying for a job, because recruiters look for a resume. I'm not sure in the sense of who looks for a CV in the Caribbean, but the main focus in the Caribbean is a resume.
So let's keep us in the Caribbean, because I feel like you should pay homage to your area first. When we talk about Caribbean resume writing, how does that differ from international or beyond the Caribbean then? Is there any difference?
Let's say within the Caribbean now, recruitment happens in so many different ways around the world.
Right.
And in the Caribbean, I would say that recruitment happens in a more traditional sense. So a lot of persons are still recruiting via email, in the sense of you send your application to an email.
Okay.
Or even if they have a website form, the person is still going to look primarily at the resume, as opposed to internationally, they have applicant tracking systems where they're not particularly looking at the resume, but they're allowing the technology to do the first round of the shortlisting.
And that might have to do with numbers, in the sense of the volumes that they may receive internationally versus regionally being smaller, yes?
The volumes in terms of that, what they're accessing might be the same, but it's based on where you are in terms of your HR department and how you've set up things to shortlist your applicants.
So we get a clear sense of what we might be up against, basically, where we have the entire world as an opportunity now. What are some of the major facets of this particular workshop that we can look forward to?
Well, what I highlighted before is really understanding who you are and your relationship with your resume. I really want to encourage persons to think about your resume as a friend. You need to be reviewing your resume on a constant basis, because like a person in a business environment, they have this 1-minute pitch. In your career, you should always be ready to say something about yourself and what you're passionate about and what you want to do in your career.
That is a great tip. The elevator pitch, I think they call it.
For your career.
I was never ready with the elevator pitch, but I will be now thanks to your workshop. So how do we register? When do we go online? How do we do things? Okay,
so it's a limited number of persons, but to access the registration, you're going on to resumewriters.tt.com/event-1. And on that page, you will see the 2022 Complimentary Resume Writing Workshop.
Okay. Now, I know I've put in the dates and those sort of things kind of earlier. We're going to review them and remind you guys of what site you can go to get that. But now, let's talk to you a little bit about a career coach. Because I think in the Caribbean, and specifically in Trinidad, in our experience, a lot of the times we do that baptism by fire. We are in a job, we'll figure it out, we have the basic skills, and that's just about it. How does a career coach come into play in planning one's future?
It's very important in the sense of like for instance, if you're coming to a live show like this, you wouldn't want to come without any experience. You want to know what you're getting into. So similar to that, a career coach can really guide you to make decisions that are more likely to have you successful in your career as opposed to you trying to figure things out, which is really time consuming.
Fair. What does that sound like, Ms. Francis? If I were to set up a consultant or rather an appointment with a career coach and I am getting into the realm of media, what are we going to do? Is it a one-time thing? Is that a process over months? Do you stay with me for the rest of my career? How does it work?
Well, for the work that we're doing, the career coach is really guided around your resume, helping you with your interview and making decisions on the job. So if you are thinking about applying for a promotion, so the career coaching that we're doing is basically around your resume and your development throughout your career in terms of applying for jobs, improving your presentation skills in that sense.
Beautiful. I do appreciate you guys for letting persons know these opportunities exist. And I say opportunities because learning is an opportunity to advance yourself. And a lot of people don't know that is definitely something that is available throughout the year, not just in time for the resume writing workshop.
Yep.
Now, beyond this workshop, what other sorts of incremental workshops, activities, other things that we can use to enhance our career we can look forward to in 2022?
Well, we're going to actually be developing and launching some new courses so that you can do this virtually and on your own time around resume writing, around improving your interview skills, and again, just around equipping you to present yourself better on the job.
Sounds good. Now, if you were to give people perhaps your top 3 tips for writing the right resume and for performing well in an interview, 3 each.
Okay. Top 3 tips that come to mind right now for your resume is making sure that there are no spelling errors and it's very clear and concise. Bolding very key elements of the resume. Don't bold the entire thing, just really key elements. And make sure when you scan your resume, you can actually pick up what you're trying to tell the recruiter in less than 5 seconds.
Nice. Okay. For the interviews now, 3 tips.
Okay. You can't lose in an interview if you're really excited about what you bring to the table and what you're applying for. Make sure you practice your interview questions and wear something that's very comfortable.
Okay. I'm loving those tips. And in that case, I would have aced any interview. Well, maybe not, because I'd wear shorts. But I do notice that with the advance of social media, things like Pinterest often give you a lot of interview tips. But I do think that, from my experience, a lot of them are very internationally accepted, very broad stroke type approaches. So when we talk to Caribbean or Trinbagonians specifically, are there perhaps 3 pitfalls that we can look out for that we may be guilty of to wrap things up?
In the interview? Not asking your recruiter a question that is relevant to the job or the company. Being late for an interview, certainly. And not researching the persons that you're likely to work with.
So we've got some do's and some don'ts. We are looking forward to that workshop. And please remind our viewers how to register and how to log on the site.
So you're going to resumewriterstt.com/events-1. You'll get 2 events there. You're going to the 2022 Complimentary Resume Writing Workshop.
Lovely. And if you or someone you know wanted some career coaching or resume writing advice, you can, of course, find Miss Victoria Francis, the Employee Experience Consultant and Career Coach, via
resumewriterstt.com.
Beautiful. Thank you so very much for joining us this morning. I'll be on that site and look out for those resumes, guys. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back with more and we're going to continue to keep you in the know here on the Now Morning Show.